Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to try to answer the question, is it worth it to cross over the Mexican border into a Mexican border town to get supplies? Welcome back to our channel. We are Two Rebels Off Grid. I am Carrie, my other half is Doug. In May of 2022, right in the middle of the pandemic, we sold our house and most everything we own and left Colorado State. We moved here to Arizona State. We live in the southeast corner of Arizona in a county called Cochise County. We're building a homestead from the ground up. We're doing everything ourselves, literally everything. We hope you want to follow along with our channel and learn from our mistakes, hopefully get some value from us. Hey, good morning. Doug and I are up bright and early heading south. We're going to go over the Mexican border. We're really curious to see if we can get building supplies a lot less expensive down in Mexico than we can here. And it's just over an hour drive for us, plus whatever time it takes to cross the border. But we're taking you with us so we can kind of show you, because I think a lot of you might be curious about that and just how the process works. All right, so here we go. We want to talk about a few things that you might find helpful if you're going to cross over the Mexican border into a border town for supplies. Now, we were bringing our utility trailer, and this is Billy. We have cats everywhere. We were bringing our utility trailer. Our neighbors that are friends of ours shared with us that if you're going to cross the border with a utility trailer, you need to bring your title and registration with you, proving that you own it. On the Mexican side of the border, they won't actually let you cross into Mexico without that. And rumors are that we've heard that they can even confiscate your trailer if you don't have documents proving that you own it. So that's really important. Do your research on that though. I did read a little bit about the fact that if you have a utility trailer that you don't own, that you're making lease payments on, or payments to a bank on, that there's some paperwork that you can get notarized to bring with you, but we just didn't want to have to mess with that, so we brought our title and registration, and that was very helpful to have with us.
What the heck was our sense of urgency? Why did we feel that we had to go to Mexico?
Yeah, so as some of you may know, Doug and I have had a really tough year financially. We both had a job loss. He broke his arm, I tore my shoulder, and we've just had some stuff going on where money was tight, but our septic permit with Cochise County was getting ready to expire, and we needed to finish and get it inspected and approved and closed. So one of the last pieces of this septic was getting a tank, and the tanks here in the US, if any of you have checked into them, they're not cheap. So the tank that we needed, which was around 1,000-gallon tank for our vault and hall septic system that was designed for us, because we have so much rock on our property, we couldn't have a traditional septic system, so we have what's called a vault and hall. So we needed about 1,000-gallon tank, and when we started pricing them around here, we're looking at like $2,500 to $3,000 for a tank. So we started talking with our neighbors, our friends, and seeing maybe we could cross the border and maybe pick up one of those tanks a lot less expensively. And it turns out we could. So there's a few things that you're going to want to note that we want to share with you about crossing the border into Mexico. First of all, there's some things that you're going to want to have with you. You need to have a driver's license from a border state. Right now, that's all you need. I think in the future, they're going to do the enhanced license with the star on it, or you'll have to have a passport. But right now, you just need a valid Arizona driver's license that's not expired to cross into the border or over the border. The other thing you're going to want to think about, if you're bringing a trailer, like a utility trailer to bring supplies back, which is what we were doing, It's really helpful if you own the trailer and you have your title and registration to prove your ownership. If you don't have that, you can't go into Mexico. They won't let you. I don't know why. I'm sure there's something that happened at some point with illegal trailers coming across the border or something like that. So you need to make sure that you have ownership documents of the trailer. If you don't own it, I understand that you can get something notarized to bring, but I don't know how that process works. You'll want to research that if that's your situation. So we brought our trailer over because we wanted to bring back a septic tank for our septic system. The customs agents at the Mexican side of the border, the one that we tried to talk with, he did not speak any English. And our Spanish is not great. It's okay, but it's not great. We were having a hard time communicating. So we do have a translator app on our phone, and that was really helpful. There was still a language barrier, but just be aware of that and have something maybe that you can use to communicate if you don't speak very good Spanish or you're not fluent. The other thing that you want to think about when you're crossing the border is make sure you don't have any guns in your car or ammunition. Doug and I we do carry. You definitely don't want to do that crossing into Mexico. Guns, I don't think they're even allowed in Mexico. So make sure you check your car, because we've heard some horror stories about people that forgot to check their car and they had either a gun or ammunition in the car and ended up in Mexican jail. So you don't want to deal with that. So make sure that you check your car thoroughly for anything like that, because it's not allowed, and there's no getting around that. So be aware of that, because we had actually, in Arizona, they've gone to like a virtual title, and so you can get copies of it. So we had gone the day before to the DMV in Douglas and ordered a copy, but we didn't realize it was going to get mailed to us. We thought they'd just print it out and give it to us. So we had the receipt showing the VIN number of the trailer with our name and address and all that information. The license plate was not on the registration, and so that was his issue. So that was a problem, and we were really fortunate that he let us go through. But don't make that mistake, you guys. If you're going to cross the border with a utility trailer, bring your title and your registration to prove ownership. Don't take a chance on that like we did. We don't recommend that. Once we got over the border, it actually felt pretty similar to the border towns on the US side. It was actually...
Go, Ted. Get. Jeez. Get a little footage here so I can explain why there's meowing going on every 5 seconds. Alright. Sorry.
It's okay. So once we got over the border, it was pretty easy to get around. It was actually, so we went into Agua Prieta, which is the sister, or not the sister, but it's the town that's right opposite of Douglas, Arizona. So I think Doug and I have talked about it a lot, and I think that all used to be, it all used to be Agua Prieta, and when they put the border in and divided the countries up, it went right through that town. And Douglas is actually a little bit smaller than Agua Prieta. Agua Prieta is actually really big. It's a very lively, bustling town, and there's tons of things that you can get there. So certain things you cannot bring back over the border. The rules right now, which is early August of 2024, the rules right now are that you can bring I believe it's $800 worth of goods back per person in the car, so per adult. So we went with our neighbors, our friends, so there was 4 of us, so theoretically we could have each had $800 worth of goods that we brought back over the border. Certain things you can't bring over, though. You can't bring things like plants. There was things listed, they had a list of stuff. You'll want to do that research, because I'm sure that can change depending on what time, right now that's what it is, but it might not be that way in a year maybe. Like there was something going on with I think it was like African swine flu or something, and they weren't allowing like sausages to come over the border. So just things like that, you just want to research it. So we knew that we had a limit on what we could spend. There is also, you can spend your American dollars, like your cash over there, But we would recommend, if you've traveled out of the country, it's usually a good idea to use like a major credit card. And there are, because you get the best exchange rate that way, from what I understand. There is I can't remember the name of the card, our neighbors know about it, but it's a card that there's no fees or anything, and it makes it really easy to go over and use your card and buy stuff, and you get the best exchange rate. So what we did was they were going to use their card, and then we were going to give them cash for the purchase that we made. So it was easy getting around. There's actually great restaurants over there, great Mexican places. We went and had breakfast burritos, and it was, I think we spent, I want to say all four of us had burritos and drinks. And I think big burritos, and I think it was like around $18 US for all four of us, which it seems like that's a lot cheaper than probably what you're going to get here in a restaurant. So they have great restaurants. Of course, you can get your tacos on, which we love to do. If you have a restaurant that you like and you've been to Agua Prieta or any of the border towns around here, put it in the comments. Let us know where you've eaten that you like. We'd love to kind of get a list of those. That'd be awesome.
Did you feel unsafe at all, and how was customer service over there?
Oh yeah, customer service was great. I didn't feel unsafe at all. Now we've heard from people that it's probably not a good idea to be over there like late at night, but during the day it's totally fine. We've had a chance to talk to people that live in Agua Prieta and work in the US. They're US citizens, but they live in Agua Prieta because it's so much cheaper. You can get a furnished, like a really nice apartment that's, I don't know, 2 or 3 bedrooms for like $350 a month. And that's like unheard of, obviously, over here. So we know people that do that, and they say the cartel, because that's always a question, right? The cartel don't mess with people generally like us that are coming over to spend our US dollars. They have their own things that they're doing, and they're not really interested in us. But you don't want to be there at night. Things go down at night, of course, and you might get caught up in something that you shouldn't be getting caught up in. You just don't want to put yourself in that situation. So we keep our travels to Mexico over the border during the day. Oh, customer service. Yeah, I mean, it was actually great. When we got our burritos, they were great. I think most of them spoke English, and they were super nice. We went to a couple places to look for this tank that we needed to buy, and they were great. And you can actually, for stuff like that, you can actually kind of negotiate. You can negotiate a better price. So when we found the tank and the size that we needed, we actually had told the guy that we were talking with that, and he didn't speak any English. We were doing this all through the translator, and then actually his buddy called who spoke English, and then we were translating through his friend. But we started out at a certain price, and we were able to negotiate it down pretty good when we told him we needed to go check one other place for this tank to see what the price was, and he was like, oh no, don't leave. And then he was really willing to negotiate that price down. So that's something to keep in mind for certain things. I'm sure it's not that way for everything, but certain things, I think they have some flexibility with that. So Doug says, let's walk and talk and make sure you don't fall down. That's my marching orders. So we're gonna walk up here to show you guys the tank that we ended up getting. Now this tank here, like a septic tank that was the size that we needed, like I think I said earlier, it's around $2,500 to $3,000. And this tank, we ended up, at first the cost was like $1,250 US, and we were able to negotiate it down to, I think the ending price was $950. So we think that's a pretty dang good price. So it saved us a ton of money. So let's go check out the tank. So you guys, we only had like 2 weeks before the inspection was due, and we didn't want to have to file an extension. We didn't want to let the permit expire. So for us, this ended up being a great alternative because we couldn't scrape together enough to spend $3,000 on a tank, but we could scrape up the $950. So we were able to do that. And so to answer the question, is it worth it driving over the border to get building supplies or any kind of supplies that you might need? Absolutely, 100% yes. In fact, we were in a hardware store down there and just looking at tools and things like that, and noticed most everything was around a third less of the cost than it is here. So like what we noticed was like something that you might pay $500 for a tool, like at Home Depot or Lowe's, you could get that tool down there for like $300. So it's definitely worth it. If you have somebody that you know that has crossed the border, we would recommend taking them with you, because our friends that are our neighbors came with us and they helped us be a lot more at ease. I've been to Mexico like 30 times, but I've never crossed the border and done it that way in a car. I've always just flown in and done it that way. So it was a little bit different, but it all worked out great, and we got this beautiful tank. We live 100% off the grid in our RV while we're building our homestead from the ground up. I work from home full time and I need to have fast, reliable internet. So I want to show you what our solution is and how we get internet completely off the grid. So the first thing you're going to need is power. And since we don't have what they call shore power, we use either a generator that we run with gasoline, or we use a solar battery. Right now we're using power that is coming from the RV, and that's running off of our gasoline generator. You might be able to hear it outside. Another option for power is a solar generator, basically a battery. So this, we love this thing. It's actually charged by the sun, and then we bring it in and I can plug in things to it. It's super convenient. It's super easy to move around. We charge our cell phones with it. You can plug lots of different things in. Right now it's not charged up all the way, so that's why we're using the other generator. This is the space under our sleeping area. Here is our modem that we use. This is a Starlink modem, and I'm going to go show you the other part of it. So this is what we plug the power cord into, and then it receives the signal from the satellite dish that's on top of our RV, and I'm going to show you that next. So that's what the Starlink satellite receiver looks like. It's actually really small. It moves around to connect with the satellite that's closest for the best reception and best signal. We live very rural. We've never had any trouble with it. It's been awesome. We've traveled with it. It's super fast and easy to set up and take down, and we've had just a great experience with it. If you're interested in hooking up with Starlink for internet, click the link above and you will get a whole free month of internet from Starlink. If you're interested in learning more about what my husband and I are doing, building an off-grid homestead from the ground up here in Southeast Arizona, follow our channel and subscribe for updates. One other thing I just thought about that you guys should be aware of, and of course you're going to want to do your research on this. If you're driving a certain distance into Mexico, once you get past the border town, you have to have the Mexican insurance for your car. It's really cheap. I want to say it's like $100, and then that's for a whole year. So look into that. We were only going to be in the border town of Agua Prieta. We weren't going past that, but that's something to look into. So if you're driving further than just a border town, check into the insurance part of it. And also probably be a good idea to check with your own car insurance carrier here in the US and see if they have any, maybe they've got a rider or something they can put on your policy. I don't know, but just something to think about. You guys, we have outdoor cats. This is one of our outdoor cats. His name is Ted, and he's beautiful. He's a sweetheart too. Oh, there's Willow. And our cats have just recently had some kittens, and Doug is going to insert some pictures of the kittens into the video. I think we've got 10 kitties available for adoption. We're not charging a fee. We just want them to go to a good home. They're awesome cats. They've been exposed to dogs, and they've been exposed to living. I mean, they were born outside and they've always lived outside. They've never been in the trailer. They're all females, which is really weird, but one of the benefits of having a female kitty on your homestead is the females are actually the hunters in the cat world. So they go after the mice. The boys do too, but the girls are more prolific hunters than the boys. The boys kind of play with them. It's more of like a game, but the girls go after them to kill them and eat them. So if you need a kitty, drop us a comment, and you can actually send us an email to our Two Rebels Off Grid. The two is spelled out TWO. So TWO Rebels Off Grid at gmail.com, and let us know if you're interested in a kitty. And we would be happy to hook you up with one of our sweet little homestead kitties. Okay.
Okay guys, so we are obviously back from Mexico, and we are going to just tell you what's coming up on the next video. We had 2 weeks when we went to Mexico to get that tank, and we finally have gotten it. We've been working like crazy. Like, I can't even answer text messages or emails in the last week because I've been so busy between my regular jobs and trying to get this organized. We did get our 3-bin compost system all hooked up, and we got our vault and haul tank set up, and we're going to show you guys that in the next video. It's going to be a septic thing. We have a unique situation up here where we have too much rock, so we can't dig below. We could show you the mistake that's already happened here. It cost us $2,000, but it was something. We'll have to talk about that in the next video. But we have a nice 200-foot long trench going through the gravel. So we had the inspector come out here. Inspector Clouseau, not really, but he came out here and he had a few words to say about our system setup, and then he left without telling us if we have a cleared permit or not, if we passed our septic tank test. So now he's on vacation for a week and we don't have an answer yet. So I know you're all going to be curious about that. So we're going to kind of put out this Mexico video first, and then we're going to put out that septic tank video for all of you who are curious on our unique situation, and we'll let you know if we passed that test or not. So until then guys, we want you to thumbs up this video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, go ahead and hit down, but I wouldn't recommend that one because your phone might explode. But that's it guys, until next time, adios.
Hit me in the leg.
That's how big these are. We got bugs.
Bug season.
Just show you, he's pretty big. That's my finger. That's pretty big fingers. That's a pretty big bug.
Wild. Ew, Doug, are you sure that's not a cockroach?
Then we get these. Everybody wants to know if these are poisonous. Probably do this constantly and have a bug every 2 seconds.